Welcome to Season 2 of the Pivot Point podcast. This season, we are featuring candid conversations. We're interviewing industry experts and leaders about candid conversations they've had that involve gender in some way. They're going to fill us in on what happened, what prevented them from addressing it, the risks they took in that conversation, why they chose to say something and how they handled it, and what happened next. Stay tuned for Pivotal Stories, a Positive Change. Today, I have Barb Smith joining me. She is the Senior Vice President and Director of Key for Women at Key Bank. She also serves as the co-chair of the Key Women's Network, which was launched to enhance Key success by cultivating a work environment that engages, empowers, and inspires employees to achieve their full leadership potential. Prior to the assignment within the company, Barb was Director of Enterprise Communications for KeyCorp, supporting the community bank, corporate bank, and shared services. Barb has had a 21-year tenure with Key and has held various leadership positions with the Director of Integration for Consumer and Small Business and the Business Banking segment, as well as District Retail Leader for Key Bank Central Indiana District. Before joining Key, she held management positions in retail banking with Bank One, and she holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Kent State University and attended both the Consumer Banking Association graduate program of Retail Bank Management, and she is the graduate of Governmental Leadership Program at Kent State University. In addition, she serves on a variety of boards in the nonprofit space. So, Barb, what a great background you have. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Julie. I'm so pleased to be here with you today.
Awesome. Well, to kick us off in Season 2, as you know, we're kicking off with a candid conversation, and you have one you affectionately call the coffee incident that you would like to share with our listeners. Please do share.
So as I was thinking about what to talk about, I started thinking over kind of different things that had happened through my career in times that I've either advocated for myself, advocated for another, but I went way back into the early days as a young management associate and right out of college. So first job out of college and starting a career and very, very anxious and not sure of myself because I did graduate from Kent State, but I also graduated with a teaching degree. So I didn't feel like banking was other than a job to get me to the next place where I could actually teach and find a teaching degree. I ended up changing my major and was a December graduate, so not a lot of teaching jobs in December as we know it. So, but what happened when I joined or started banking was that I really loved it, and I really thought, wow, this is some place that I think I can really make a difference, and I can make a career here. So back in those days, so we're talking 1980s, most of the, and not too unlike what it is today, most of the senior positions were held by men and in banking, and so I didn't have a lot of women to look up to or sponsors or mentors to really help me. And so now let's talk about as I affectionately call the coffee incident. So I am in a management associate role. I'm one of two women of 15 that are in the management associate program. So we actually are, we had to apply for and then interview and actually be accepted into this program. And one of my first assignments was with a co-management associate who was a male, and we were in a branch assignment, and both of us early days on, both into our careers. And he happened to be sitting there at the desk by himself at the time the incident happened. And I'm with a client, And as I'm with the client, I get interrupted by the branch manager, man, who asked me to go get coffee for him and his client.
Oh boy.
And so the first, my reaction is of course, of course I'll help you. Of course I'll, so I end up excusing myself from my client, walking past the gentleman who's not doing anything and going and getting the coffee. So as I pour the coffee, I I'm not sure how calmly I am. I begin to seethe and really start getting very angry at myself. I'm angry at myself that I didn't, immediately say, I'm with a customer. Could you please ask someone else? But, really I'm, why do I have to go and get the coffee? Let alone it's not, I'm not in a secretarial position. There's no secretaries in the bank. This is not normal behavior. So I continued to seethe, and I would say over the next couple of days, I could probably have brewed my own coffee internally from the steam that it was generating inside me. But I didn't know what to do with it. Again, early in my career, I've really not had to deal with this. I might have seen gender bias, but it was never really directed at me. So, was I being too sensitive? Did I just need to grow up and, this is how it is? But I decided no. And I decided that from that point on that I needed to advocate for myself and I needed to go address this incident with the branch manager. Now, unfortunately, how it ended up playing out was that he just he didn't take any ownership for his part in what he had done. He didn't see it as anything that he shouldn't have done. So I walked away disappointed, but I also walked away with and fortunately it was just an assignment. It wasn't like this is my boss and I just had to live out the rest of the assignment until I got my next assignment. But I did use that to really make sure that the next time I approached something and the next time I was confronted with that I handled it differently and that I ensured that I stood up for myself and, stood in my own power. And it really changed. I would say that little coffee incident probably changed how I looked at myself and how I saw the trajectory of my career going. Mm-hmm. That I wasn't going to stand for it. It just wasn't. That's not right. And I was just as good as the next person. It doesn't matter, what race they are or what whether they're male, female. It didn't matter. I brought my own qualities and should be treated as such.
I love that story, Barb. And it's one that I think women face a lot more so than our male counterparts, right? And early in your career, when you're one of the few women in a setting, the few women in a leadership rotational program, to step into that and have the courage to speak up on your behalf, right? I can only imagine how hard that was to then go back and educate him on why what he did was inappropriate. But then to not even get a valid response, not even acknowledge it, and to persevere through that, kudos to you, because these microaggressions that we face, they're not overt. Asking somebody to get coffee is not, blatant sexism. However, it put you at a disadvantage to your male counterparts. It interrupted a dialogue you had with your client. It put you in a position that was somewhat submissive. So the implications of that, like you said,
right.
Really, you harnessing that power and taking it back, really set your trajectory for your career in a very different way. So I love that. I love that turnaround story. You talked about your career as a jungle gym. Help us understand. You've done so many different types of work, and you've shared. It's not necessarily looked at as a job, but as a career. Help us understand your career path and how you got to be a senior vice president for our listeners.
Yeah. So I I also call myself an accidental banker. So early on, I just shared with you the fact that banking wasn't really my career choice. I was planning on being a teacher, but what I did find and I also had a double major in journalism. So from early days when I got into banking, I found that I was doing a lot of teaching and the communication process was so critical. So I knew I could use my skill set in a different way. And the very cool thing about banking, although who thinks banking is cool but a banker, but the very cool thing about banking is that there are so many different career opportunities within banking. So, I spent a good time in sales. I spent a good time in leadership positions, management positions. I've had support roles. I've led the integration of an acquisition, not once, but led the entire thing once, and then led it as a team player on a larger acquisition. So I've been part of merger acquisitions. What I will say is that how I've led my career is from a famous quote that I carry around actually with me wherever I go, and it's take the leap and build your wings on the way down. So where I've probably been the most frustrated with myself is when I didn't raise my hand or I didn't take that chance because I felt I didn't check all the boxes. And I learned that nope, if you want something, go and do it. And no matter how big the challenge is, you can figure it out. And you can get the right team around you and make things happen. So I've had a really, really great career with all kinds of different opportunities. I actually, while being fully employed and a mother and a wife, ran for political office and became the vice mayor and president of city council in the city I lived. So also did a tour that way too. So, it's just been great. A lot of fun.
That's so terrific. And to look at it, I think a lot of times when women come in, say to finance or into a particular industry, what I hear often is this is the only thing I can do. Right. And so I love flipping that. Like you said, build your wings on the way down, figure it out as you go. Just because you've done one thing doesn't mean that you can't pivot into a completely other area and do something different. And your background is a great testimonial to that.
Exactly. It's using those skill sets in a different way, right? So, and really taking what you bring to the table and advancing whatever the cause is further. So, so now I sit in this great position where I am champion advocating for women, not only internally with Key and helping advance and grow careers here, but then also externally and also building male allies along with it. So making sure that we've got a full force effort around making our clients successful and grow and thrive along with our employees as well.
Yeah, that's terrific work inside and out. Tell our listeners more about Key for Women. I've had the privilege to be a part of professional development opportunities as a women business owner. And it's awesome when you get women together to talk about their challenges and candidly pull together. And, I truly believe we're stronger together, which Key for Women, to me, that's been a huge takeaway from that experience. But curious on and where it started, where it's going. Help our listeners understand.
Yeah, so we've Key for Women itself was launched in 2005. So the program itself has been around for a number of years, and initially it was targeted at just women business owners and kind of skewed to startups. And if you think about what it was, back in 2000, what the economy was in 2005 versus today. And what today, not only are we focusing on helping women business owners thrive, but we're also looking at women as business leaders. So those who are making decisions, you may not own the business, but you may be the CEO, or you may be the COO or the CFO. So we're really looking at it more broadly. And what we do is really advocate, connect, and empower women. So that is really our mission, to make those opportunities come alive. So advocate. When we talk about advocating for women, though, we're not talking about necessarily marching on Washington with signs. We're really talking about advocating for women by putting the right resources around them to help them be successful. So part of it is really just what you shared. So giving them the opportunities for some leadership development, and also the empowering connecting by building very strong networks where women can meet with each other, can share issues, but then also there's an opportunity for the B2B business as well. So at the end of the day, we want them to be successful. The more successful they are, the more successful we are. So it's really an all-out effort. Men and women across our footprint are becoming certified women financial advisors, and really taking it to the next level.
That is terrific.
So the Key has long held or long been involved in promoting and supporting diversity and inclusion, not only internally, but this is externally, our commitments to our communities. Really, our mission is to make our clients and communities thrive, and Key for Women fits right up underneath that umbrella.
Absolutely. Well, and it's very consistent with how you go to market. Believing that, as you help businesses, that in turn comes back to you, but it's with positive intent that you're really serving your customers and helping them grow. So excellent. So another question I have for you, Barb, is what is it like? So we were talking about, Beth Mooney continues to be one of the only female CEOs of one of the top 20 banks. What's it like to work at a bank or work at an organization with a woman as a CEO?
Phenomenal. Not only do we have diversity, at the very top of the house, but we also have a diverse board, and we have over 66% of our workforce are women at Key. So the opportunity in the diverse, the best part of Key Bank is truly the values that we have, and the fact that we all value diversity and inclusion from the very top of the house. I don't care who you meet or where it is. We all value each other. We are a stronger company because we value diversity and inclusion. We ensure that everyone has a seat at the table, and we team together. It's just such a powerful company to be part of. So this is actually my second time I've had the opportunity to work for Beth. When I was at Bank One, and early in my career, she was my president. She was a president of Bank One Akron, where I worked. And this has been just a wonderful, wonderful journey with her, and having her at the helm.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it really sets, a lot of organizations talk the talk about diversity. Of course, it's important to us. We're doing ABC initiatives, but you have the results. You have a diverse board,
right.
You have a diverse leader. And even organizations that aren't perfect. I've worked with a number of clients that are getting there. They're continuing to get more and more women in the C-suite, more people of color, LGBTQ, whatever diversity factors are important to you. Truly, when you create a place that's inclusive, that people that are quote unquote different want to be a part of because they truly feel like they belong, you set that inclusive environment, and it's like magnets. Because I'll be talking with organizations like, oh, we just don't get people that apply for jobs like that. Or, oh, we just can't seem to retain them. Like there's something else going on there. right? So it really goes to
Absolutely.
show you in
Absolutely.
banking, in the finance industry, in Northern Ohio, these things can happen if you really focus on them.
I agree. And we're recognized for it. So for the ninth year in a row, or fifth year in a row, Key Bank has been recognized as one of the top 50 companies for diversity by Diversity Inc. We also have been named 10 times to the Human Rights Campaign as the best place to work for the LGBT equality. So, again, it's not just, we don't talk about it, we walk the walk, we live it. You shared earlier that I led one of our employee resource groups for women. We have 10 others. So we have, variety of groups focused on variety of anything from young professionals to veterans to Asians to LGBTQ to Hispanic. We have them.
Wow.
So they're the inclusiveness and the fact that we pride ourselves on this, it's part of our DNA. It's what we're about.
Yep. Yeah. And I find that's a common trait of companies that are truly achieving equality is when they say things like that. It's a part of who we are, right? It would be questioned if you act differently or inconsistent with that. So excellent.
Exactly.
Barb, it has been such a pleasure to talk to you. Help our listeners understand, how to connect with you, how to engage and learn more about Key Bank, Key for Women, all the great things you're doing for diversity.
Sure. So Key for Women is the easiest thing to be connected to. We're open to everyone, men and women alike. So we want those male allies as well. And the way to do that would just be to go onto our website. So key.com/Key for Women. And right there, you'll find the registration form to sign up, and you'll be already included in all our great content that we produce on a bi-monthly basis, along with events locally. So we welcome you. We would love for you to join our journey with us and build that network even stronger. So that's the easiest place to do it. And you can reach me either by Barb_Smith at key.com, or you can just simply email Key for Women. So keyforwomen.com gets you is the email address to use for that.
Awesome. And yeah, I have to agree. Key for Women has amazing content that they're putting out there. You were so kind to do an interview with me a few weeks back, and it was such a great conversation. So I encourage you to check out the resources there. They're really committed to this and are very inclusive to our men as allies. So I love that you support that message. I couldn't agree more.
All right. Well, we love the partnership we have with you, Julie.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on today, Barb. Excellent information, excellent stories. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the Pivot Point podcast and our candid conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with a friend or subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us at Next Pivot Point on social media, and check out our website for free, amazing resources to support your candid conversation journey. It's www.nextpivotpoint.com. Thank you.